Welcome to Pages and Partners, a Muncie Public Library podcast. Discover the library through our history, buildings, staff, programs, and partnerships. Join us as we explore what makes Muncie Public Library an important part of our community.
Thank you for joining us for Pages and Partners, a Muncie Public Library podcast. My name is Gabby Sandefer, and I'm the Great Achievers Supervisor at the Marion Hunt branch of Muncie Public Library. And my guest today is Donna Catron, the Library Manager at Kennedy Library. Today we're going to be talking about the Kennedy Library, one of the branches of the Muncie Public Library system. So, hi Donna, thank you so much for being here with me.
Hi Gabby, thanks for having me.
So, the first question we were going to ask you in regards to the Kennedy Library is, how do you guys decide which books and resources to acquire for the community?
Well, that's a good question, and basically, we try to order popular materials, things that our customers really would like. That's not as easy as it sounds because we have a diverse community, we have diverse customers. So there are some things like we know we're going to order Patterson, Danielle Steele, so there are popular authors.
Entire bookshelves of James Patterson, right. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So we know we're going to get those materials, but we can't rely solely on that, what's popular nationwide, because there are some authors that are on the bestseller list that just don't get read by our customers, and vice versa. There are some authors that are popular in our libraries and not other places. So popularity is one factor, and we look at closely at our usage and trend patterns to see what we think is going to be popular with our customers. And contrary to what some people think, we do not read all the books that we put in the library. That would be impossible.
You'd probably need like 3 people's full-time jobs just being reading if we were doing that. Yeah, yes. Probably more though. We'd need like a whole department that would just be the reading department.
I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, me too. You ever make a reading department, Donna, and I will house it. That's for sure.
So, but beyond just popularity, we also take seriously that we serve our whole community. And as we know, our community is diverse. So I want all people to be able to come into the library, especially kids and teens, but also adults too, and see themselves reflected in our materials.
Absolutely.
So that's something we've really been trying to focus on the past several years, is making sure that we have diverse materials.
Absolutely. And you know, when I was in college, I was an education major, and that was something that was really highlighted was children need to see themselves reflected in books. And there's a saying, books can either be windows into different communities. They can be a door, or it's like windows, a sliding glass door. There's a whole quote where basically they can either show you a culture you haven't seen. It's mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. So you can see yourself reflected, you can look into another culture, or you can open the door and experience another culture.
I love that quote.
It was a really formative quote for me. I heard it when I think I was like 19 or 20, and it really changed the way I thought about literature as a whole. So I love that you guys are focusing on making sure everyone in the library gets the different materials. I just think that's really powerful, especially because our Kennedy branch is located on the main drag of Muncie. You know, McGalliard Road is the hub of a lot of stuff. So I'm sure you get so many people coming in and out of your library.
Right, and we're close to Ball State, so that's a factor too.
Probably lots of Ball State students. I remember when I was a education major, I would go by the Kennedy branch to pick up books for my practicums and all sorts of stuff, because that was the one that was mapped closest to Ball State. So so that's really great. So, you know, kind of pivoting from books and resources and going into more programming, what are some of the most popular programs or events that are hosted by the Kennedy branch?
I would say our most popular programs are our story times for the preschoolers. We have 4 different programs a week, and I have notes because I might not remember, but we have our preschool pals on Tuesdays. We have our Books Baby on Wednesday, our tumbling toddlers
Oh
on Thursday.
my gosh.
And our Tinker Tot program on Friday.
You are booked and busy with those little kids.
We are, and they're so very popular. I was talking to Miss Jeanette, one of our children's librarians, yesterday when we had our Tumbling Toddlers program. And I said, well, how did it go? And she said, well, it was all right, but we only had 31 today. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That is, I want to highlight that. Only 31 for a program that takes place in the morning.
Right.
That, only 31. That's really funny to show how popular that is,
Right.
because I love that story. Thank you for sharing, because the 31, if you're not a librarian, that is an awesome number to get to come to your event. Like, that, you are really doing something people like to get that many people continually going. Are there any other popular programs or events you want to talk about?
Well, our most popular programs for adults are our book club. We have 3 regular book clubs. We have Reading Circle, which I'm partial to because I lead.
Oh, yeah.
And we have Droids and Dragons, which is kind of a sci-fi book club. And we have Dewey Divers, which is for nonfiction.
Very interesting. And so do those book clubs meet on like a semi-monthly basis to discuss different books?
Each of them have their own dates. The Reading Circle meets Mondays at noon. So we typically draw a lot of retirees.
Yeah.
So that makes it nice. Dragons and Droids also meets the second Monday of each month, but they meet in the evening. And then I believe Dewey Divers meets on Thursdays, but I should know that. But
well, part of being a librarian is we can get you the information.
Right.
We don't have it all in our brains. We're not robots, but by gosh, we can find you what you need.
Right.
So yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So if you're interested in looking at the book clubs, you can go to the Muncie Public Library website. And if you go to our calendar, you're able to see when the book clubs meet. And I think from there, you can sign up to join them. So if you have questions about that, you can stop by your local branch, maybe the Kennedy branch, and the Info and Adult Services can help you with that. So, kind of really honing in on the programming, there is such a wide variety of ages that we see come into the library. So how do you engage those different age groups all the way from, preschoolers to seniors? That seems like a big task. How do you decide what you're going to do to engage these different, walks of life?
Right, that's a good question. Well, we need to look at what will attract the different age groups. We pretty much have our preschool covered with the regular programs. But we started doing some new things in our children's. We've just started a Foodie Fun program. Try to say that 3 times fast.
I know. What a tongue twister.
For ages 5 and up. So early elementary. And Miss Jeanette does some food-based programs. So
what a fun life skill to teach them from a young age. I feel like a lot of little kids, people may not have the patience to teach them, certain tools and stuff. That is a really unique program.
And we also, for a little later elementary, 8 to 11, we have our club in between. They meet every week, and they do different activities, art, and things like that. And for our teens, we've had some real success with our book tasting programs. Miss Jennifer has worked with different community groups to be able to provide books for the kids to take with them.
Oh, fun.
And so that's been very popular. And she also is a former art teacher, so she does a lot of art programs with the kids. So as we all know, teens can be hard to attract.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we're slowly building up a steady group. So that's really good to see. And then for adults, again, our book clubs are very popular. We also have a Chatty Crafties program.
Oh, fun.
Where they they have specific crafts, but people can also bring in their own crafts to work out. So that's been popular. We have a Big Questions, Big Ideas series, usually monthly. That's our partnership with Ball State, and they bring in Ball State professor to talk about different issues. And so we try to have special programs also for adults and seniors. March we had a musical program for Irish music with Bantry Bay, so that was very popular. We also had Soul of Food program that we initially intended to have in February, but it got postponed. So we had 3 local business owners, restaurant owners, catering places come and share their food samples with us and talk a little bit about their inspiration.
I saw that one posted on Facebook, and it seemed like it was extremely popular. You guys had a lot of people at that one, and I think it's important to highlight that we do more than just book programs. I mean, we had a whole like food tasting program and things like that. And I always like to tell people libraries are so much more than books. Like, yes, we love books. We want you to read. We want you to check these out. But if you're wanting to expand your hobbies, if you're wanting to try something new, the library can be a really great place to do that without a cost barrier associated with it. You know, kind of leaning back more towards like technology and things like that, you had mentioned some of the different resources. How has technology changed the way that the Kennedy branch operates?
Oh, it's been a huge change. I've been lucky enough to, or old enough to come in at the very beginning. I first started at Carnegie Library in 1989. I know that was way before you were born, but
I was born in 96, so you know, not too far, but yeah. And that was when Kennedy was our main, or not Kennedy? Was that when Carnegie was our main branch?
Yeah. So I think there was one computer when I started, and then by the early 2000s, when I came to Kennedy for the first time, we had just this little computer lab. It was really more of a closet, and it had 6 computers, and they were always used. People had to sign up to use the computers. So since that time, our computer use has just really exploded. We now have PCs scattered across the Kennedy building, so people have a little more space and privacy. But the other big change was Wi-Fi. Now people can bring in their own devices and just sort of hang out with the library. So that makes it really, really great to see.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I know like times where, there was a point where I had a laptop that was broken, and I actually went to the Carnegie, or not Carnegie, now I was saying Carnegie because I actually went to the Kennedy branch to, it actually allowed me to be able to apply for a job because my laptop was broken, and this was before I worked here.
Right.
And I went there because I had no computer, and I was able to apply for and get a job because I was able to go to the computer. Because when you don't have my laptop had something spill on it, and then it kaputted, and having that, people don't realize how big of a deal that is to have access to computers, because you don't know how much you use your computer until it's gone. And then you're suddenly trying to do X, Y, and Z. And I like that you have them spaced out because, people don't want to feel right next to the other person while they're trying to check their email or stuff. That's really neat. And I think that's really fun that you have seen it go from one probably giant computer with a huge backing to these, modern, very sleek computers we have now. And the Wi-Fi is a big game changer, too.
And, technology has also changed our collections and what we offer. It's been a succession. DVDs replaced VHS tapes, and now streaming services has kind of cut into the DVDs and the CDs that are available for us to get for our customers. And that's kind of frustrating to us and the customers. And then also we have to talk about the explosion of e-resources, ebooks and e-audio. Our Libby circulation, I think last year, system-wide, it was over a quarter of the circulation that we have for the entire circulation.
I love my Libby account, and I was just listening to an audiobook this morning while I was getting ready. I mean, it is really allowed people to be able to read and engage with literacy and books, even if they're unable to sit and open it up. You know, you can go on a long car ride and listen to a whole book. I think it's really important to highlight those services, especially now.
Right. And it also impacts how we change, you know, instead of 10 Pattersons print books now, I buy 5 Pattersons and 5 ebooks. So
yeah,
it's just a huge change.
Yeah, I bet. I didn't even think about that because, we have to buy how many copies we have. I didn't even think about that. That probably would affect how much you house in person. So that's really fascinating. Do you have at your branch, the Kennedy branch, do you have a favorite spot in the library or a special feature that you would like to highlight?
I do. We call it the Sonata room. That's kind of informal term for it. And it comes from the fact that we have a beautiful sculpture called Sonata. It was by, let me check the name, Christopher Rees. And it was donated by our former library director, Patricia Schaefer. And that fact alone has a special place in my heart because she was the library director when I first came to the library.
Aw, so it's nice to see a part of her still there when now you've worked your way up to being, in management, to kind of look back and look at one of your mentors. That's really sweet.
Right. And she was such a special person. She passed away not too long ago, but she did so much for the library and for our community. Yeah. So anyway, it's
nice that we get to honor her in that way and have that bit of her that kind of, is able to keep existing on. So thank you for highlighting the sculpture. But you said it's a specific room.
Yeah, the space itself, it faces McGalliard, and there's like a half wall. So you can we have lots of comfy chairs and tables and chairs. So you can either face McGalliard and watch all the traffic, or you can face the other way and watch the library. So it's just has huge windows, and on a sunny day, it's just so nice and airy. I kind of wish that I could be a customer sometimes and just hang out there.
I do love that space. I had a job before I worked at the library where I had to work with clients one-on-one, and I would bring them specifically to that space because it's a very calming, lots of natural light, very beautiful space. And the way the light hits that sculpture too is very pretty. It's a very gorgeous space to work. So I like that area a lot too. I'm glad you shared that. Do you have any other spaces, or do you want to talk a little bit more about that space?
Well, the other space that I'm pretty proud of is our white area. And when I came to Kennedy, it's almost 9 years ago, I guess, as a building manager, the space was just not really being used. It was being used to house materials. And so we needed a space for teens. So we did a major shifting project. We shifted all the materials around, and we use that space now for teens. We've opened it up, so there are table and chairs, and it's another space that's great. Not just teens, but our other customers like to go in there and study and just be there. So that's another space that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, I got to see that teen space when we came for our all-staff day, and it was very neat. And your staff does a beautiful job of decorating that youth services area too. It's like stepping into a storybook when you walk in there.
They are so talented. I can't say enough about that. I mean, they could do anything with construction paper and duct tape, I'm convinced.
Oh, yeah. if you can take the time to come to the Kennedy branch and check out the YS area, there is so much in that youth services area that's handmade. I mean, you'll look on the wall, you'll see this neat dragon. You'll be like, where'd you get that? Oh, Miss Jeanette made it. Or, oh, Miss Jennifer made it. So highly recommend checking out that area. It is just gorgeous to go and see.
It's always changing.
Yes,
so.
yes. Well, wonderful. Thank you for sharing those areas. Those are two areas I also really like in your space. And, finally, the last question I have for you is, what is a typical day like for a library branch manager? Starting in the morning to the end, what type of stuff do you do?
Well, there's no such thing as a typical day, and that's what I love about my job. There's so much variety, and a lot of my time is spent in meetings. I meet with our the department managers to talk about our programs and our services that we're offering, what we can do better, what we do great already. And then I also meet with my counterparts at the other libraries because we are a system. So it's important. Each location is unique, but it's important that we follow the same policies so customers can get a consistent experience.
Absolutely.
Because we hope people will visit all of our locations. Oh, yeah.
Well, I know you in the, specifically the Marion Hunt Library branch supervisor, you guys are constantly communicating to make sure that it is, and I think that's a good experience for people to know that if you go to one branch, you're going to get the same experience at another branch. You know all the answers ahead of time. I really like that you guys do that. I think it really makes it a good place to come to when you know your expectations and kind of how the library functions.
Yeah, so I do that, and I'm always ready and willing and able to meet with customers and community partners about their needs and concerns. I love to hear from customers. Sometimes I'll go out and shelve new books just so I can be out in the public and talk to people. But it's not just meetings, although some days it seems like it's just meetings.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir. There's some days I feel like I've been in and out of meetings, and I'm like, I would like to talk to people. I'd like to see my library. I'd like to see the areas. Yeah.
Yeah, so I also select materials. Of course, I select fiction and DVDs for Kennedy, and then I order ebooks for our system, and I fill in on the public service desks. I've even been known to mop up a leaky bathroom floor when no custodians were available. So I just do a variety of things, whatever comes up that
Sounds
day.
like you are jack of all trades, master of all too. Like
I don't know about that, but
but yeah, I like that you are kind of able to have your hands in whatever is needed. Sounds like a busy day, that's for sure. But I agree, I'm not a branch manager, but as a supervisor, you never know what the day's going to bring you, but that's kind of exciting sometimes. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but sometimes it's really exciting. So that sounds great. I'm glad that you like the different hats you have to wear. I think that adds to a little fun of the job.
It does.
So, before we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to share or highlight?
Speaking of collections, I wanted to let people know that if there's something they're not finding in the library, we have on our website, there's a request for materials. So do be sure to fill that out because we want to get what you want.
Yes, in the request for materials, you will get contacted by a librarian letting you know whether your request was filled or not, and they are very timely with it. And that is open for anyone. I mean, I myself have filled that out before just as a patron of the library if there's a book series that I think would be a really good option. And I've been told by all branch managers that is really appreciated and actually really helps you guys when it comes to those orders you have to place. So yeah, well, that is great. And Donna, I just want to thank you for your time coming to speak about the Kennedy branch and talking about your experiences as a library manager and just the different services that the Kennedy branch can offer.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. for your time. We really appreciate it. And thank you all for your time and for listening to the podcast. And in the meantime, keep reading.
This has been Pages and Partners, a Muncie Public Library podcast. For more information about library events and resources, visit munpl.org.